Alright. Now 8 o'clock. Time to paint. Eventually satisfy my OCD. Alright, how's everyone doing tonight? Hopefully we're going to... Actually, I don't know if we're going to be able to finish the Eradicator tonight. Oh, hey, Tone. You're here early. So, probably not going to hit this point tonight with our buddy. But, yeah, most of the way there, at least. Let's see. Now, this is a little bit more drying to do, and then we can seal that with Salamian, matte down the gloss on that, and then this arm will be good. And our main attention currently is yonder Melta. Oh, thank you, Tone. So, yeah, we can get some bronze on here, and some Millen oil, and highlights, and scroll. You thin my metallics at all. So here's the thing. Using a wet palette thins everything just a little bit anyway. I also try to keep my brush just a little on the moist end all the time anyway. So I guess technically you could say yes. Do I go out of my way to thin them? No. I don't go out of my way to thin metallics more often than not. Sometimes, like if stuff has started drying on the palette, I might add a little, you know, like flow improver or something like I do with like everything else. But generally speaking, not really. If our metallics bleed through the paper sheet on the wet palette, no, not really. Granted, these are the sheets that are recommended by Redgrass. You can see occasionally like staining on the sponge. That's usually from when I overfill the sponge and it pulls the paint off the sheet and then under like that. I've never really had bleeding through the sheet except for one example, and that's not with paints. It's actually in reverse because I keep pennies underneath the sponge to combat mold growth, and my first round had a couple ended up rusting for whatever reason, and actually it created this big rust spot in it, like right where the penny was, that eventually, if I had the sheet on for too long, or actually it was more like paint on the rust spot for too long, the rust would actually start staining the paint, so it was kind of weird. Yeah, it's probably from you just over saturating the sponge, so water comes up and then just slides the paint off, and then it goes under like that. At least that's what usually happens to me. I've never noticed, in particular, paint going directly down. And I've been using a wet palette like this for nearly 2 years. It's a lot of painting for me, by the way. For most of the last year, or at least, I'd say probably like 8 of the last 12 months, my primary occupation has just been painting. in some way, mixed with some web work, and then like the other like 4 or so months of the last 12 were primarily web work, but still with painting on the side. So like I'm always painting. Especially like lately when I've not had much in the way of web work. I've probably had web work today to do, but in between the streams. But primarily just this one big painting commission, and someone asked me a few days ago how much I paint. And when I thought about it, I'm like, probably in the 70 to 80 hours a week I'm painting. It's quite the sample size. Ironically, right this moment, I'm not painting quite 80 to 70 to 80 hours a week, just because I'm working on some other job stuff, and there's also a lot more background stuff with like the stream and the channel and making tutorials and crap that's not actually painting. On top of currently in the process of trying to get some higher-end tech, a higher-end tech job that's been taking up a lot of my time as well. So like, but yeah, like looking at last month, for example, last month almost all I did was paint, pretty much. Like I had like entire weeks where I would wake up in the morning that day, do my morning routine of like eat, workout, shower, and then I'd paint, and then I'd paint till I went to sleep, effectively. Like obviously meal breaks, but like yeah, I would just paint. That's all I was doing. This man still is a big commission. It takes a lot of time. That commission got out of hand, and still needs to be finished, but I've got this tournament with a painting contest, so that's my current focus. Favorite paint contrast paints. I use a number of different contrast paints, but none of them for contrast. None of them for speed painting. I use them as for technical, not effects, but like very specific, specific things. Actually, no, that's slightly a lie. Actually, I do use Skeletal Horde. Is it Skeletal or Skeleton? Skeleton Horde. I do use this as my primary wash for when I do bone. But primarily for contrast, I use Apothecary White and Black Templar as shaders of different kinds that I use very specifically. If you watch my How to Paint White Armor tutorial, I go into the details and all that. I actually need to remake that in my current format. Not only would it be better, but I made an erroneous statement in that tutorial. I need to fix. But anyway, I had forgot the step of base coating the piece with the airbrush with matte white. Like I just went straight from priming to paint on it that wasn't a base coat, and like for best results you actually should have a base coat. It's not the worst if you don't, but like best case scenario you do have a base coat. So I need to fix that. But anyway, but in that method, like I use Apothecary White as a broad shader. So anywhere there's a recess, I just slap Apothecary White there and it creates like an off gray. And then in the recess corner itself, so like a very precise shade, I take a mix of 211 Apothecary White, Black Templar, Lamian Medium, and I have a bunch pre-mixed in a bottle here, in a dropper, and then I would drag that through the deep recesses, and I use Black Templar on the like trenches, the like armor trenches, like you kind of see with the like the line here. Just barely kind of see it. The line there where it's like or like this entire like gap in here. Actually, I would just shove like Black Templar in there, and that's effectively the shading method I'd use on white scars, which is contrast paint. So like the white on here is matte white, and then a bunch of contrast, and then Apothecary White and White Scar for highlighting. So I do use contrast, just only a Skeleton Horde. for bone in like the standard method that they tell you to use contrast. I don't think most contrast paints are actually a good like one-stop shop paint. I think the Army Painter, not that I've used them, but I've seen a lot of videos on it, appear to be better for that kind of method. Although, to be honest, unless you're doing like horde armies, I don't think it's like the best method for getting good looking miniatures, if you ask me. The problem is that you can't get it flat, basically, unless you airbrushed it. Airbrush, but you don't get nearly as much shading out of it if you airbrush it, but you do get that color way flatter. I actually tried that once with Apothecary White, and it was all very much a like off grayish blue or off bluish gray. Kind of a weird color, but actually it basically looked like the bottom of the bottom. Looks kind of like the middle stripe here. Kind of look like that. That's what it looks like having an airbrush. Nice, nice. Use some of that Marin 2 with recessing. I'm trying contrast paints in this Chaos Cultist, which is pretty satisfying. Not sure if it's worthwhile highlighting normal paint on stuff like highest part, most, etc. I always think it's worthwhile highlighting. Honestly, every time someone wants me to give advice on their painting and they're a beginner and they're doing mostly just, you know, colored panels, if you will, like just base coats, it's like, all right, now the next step is you go in one or two directions, but ideally you combine both shading and highlighting. If it's higher up, you make it brighter, some kind of way, and if it's lower, you make it darker so you can get contrast. I mean, contrast is in like a theory, not like contrast paints. Contrast paints in theory contrast paints in theory will get you that that shading a little bit, and in theory will also naturally highlight them a little bit, because you're ideally supposed to put them over like white, like a white base coat or white primer. I would recommend a white base coat. It just gives it's stronger. It's a stronger bond. Anyway, I still think more often than not you'll get a better product out of doing, you know, manual highlights and shading. Now granted, you are doing cultists, so unless you're like me that's crazy and will like paint intercessors up to the level of most people's characters, you're probably fine. They're cultists. They're just gonna run on the board, die, and then whatever. But yeah, it depends on what your focus is. I mean, for me, I want every single model in my army to look absolutely astounding, because I'm like that. Yep, using Wraithbone. Yeah, okay, yep. Yeah, the cultists, I just want them to get knocked out quick. Rest of the army is normal paints. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, it's totally reasonable to use contrast on stuff like cultists. If I wasn't me, I probably would have done that with my servitors, because they're also like chaff units like that. But of course, I didn't. I went the exact opposite route. I converted my own and kit bashed my own like ridiculously overcomplicated, way too well painted monstrosities that don't look like anything. I always have to tell people what they are. I think only one person has ever guessed what unit they are just by looking at them. And it took me like over 2 months to put 4 servitors on the table. But they look amazing, and they're 100% unique, so I'm satisfied with it. And it matches the kind of theme I've been going with a lot of my army lately. Actually, they're right up here, if you give me a second. Squeeze. This stuff is gonna knock into other stuff if I move the chair too much. You were doing something like cultists, would you want some uniformity in them? E.g. same colored gold helmets, or you ragtag and have them all mismatched? Well, actually my servitors might slightly answer that question, so I'll pull the focus out a little bit here. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if this will work. It'll be like my presentation mode. I'm not caring for this music while I do it. Let's switch to something else. Oh yeah, I like this track. Okay. And, oh, wire's getting cut. So these are my ridiculously over-kit-bashed, over-painted, actually put them into a painting contest servitors. They're meant to be very tribal looking, almost like cultists. I actually don't, in my headcanon for them, they're not even like lobotomized. They're actually just tribal people the Raven Guard picked up and turned into servitors for their service. Not into servitors, but like taking up the servitor role. They even have like, you know, these have multi-meltas and they are actually magnetized. So I can pop them out for like plasma gun halves for like plasma cannons or like bolters for heavy bolters. Anyway, actually I might still make the... I had original plans for 2 more that had shoulder mounted heavy bolters. Anyway. So that was my thought on these, and they are still pretty uniform. Like, they look, even though they're ridiculously different, you can tell they go together. Now, as for your cultists, that is kind of based on what your headcanon is for them. Where did they come from? Is there a backstory? Like, they were once part of, say, a PDF or a governor's bodyguard? Or are they, like, you know, gangers from the Underhive, in which case, you know, none of their stuff's gonna look the same. Unless they were a very organized gang that, like, really wanted that uniform aesthetic. You know, that's kind of, what I would be thinking of when deciding that. There's also the idea that you could have same colored bits of them to uniform them that would help you distinguish between multiple squads of cultists, or squads, groups, flocks, whatever you call a murder of cultists. Yeah, depends on... Yeah, there's pragmatic and lore reasons to go in either direction. Haven't gone that far lore-wise. Might have to give them some background. Reason I was thinking of all going gold helmets was to film the rest of the Black Legion army, but could just as easily join any other army in the future. Yeah, I mean, I would be thinking, like, what's the lore? Like, how did the Black Legion get these guys? Did they conquer a planet and, like, they actually hated the governor they were supposed to protect, so they actually turncoated at the last minute and joined the Black Legion? Like, basically was like, oh, hey, you got to the gates, cool. I'm gonna open this for you so you can kill that guy because we hate him, and then we're gonna join you. And the Black Legion's like, cool, bro. I mean, get behind me. You know, yeah, I think about it. There's a lot of, like, there's a lot of cool potential, and I think one of the coolest parts of painting one's minis is adding that story into your characters in you know, the million different tiny details painted into them. Like, a lot of my guys have little features like that mean stuff. Through sometimes I go back and add stuff after, like, really crazy battles, for example, or when stuff happens in a crusade campaign. But a lot of time I'll think of lore for them while I'm painting them and add stuff. Example is my company veterans sergeant. I gave him an actual name, but I don't remember. What I do remember is the Red Raven, which is his personal insignia, and this is his personal standard, which I did freehand. That is his designation. The sergeant of the company veterans of the Raven Guard 3rd Company. Let's go with they're all part of a crazy Kool-Aid drinking cult, just wants to smash and kill stuff. Well, then I'd say go super, like, all over the place. Mixed matched and nuts. And they're just, you know, your usual Hive City rabble that just got caught up in everything and now, you know, too far gone. Man, when I make a chaos army, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to make some cultists that are part of that whole PDF governor bodyguard turncoat thing. I like that story. Um, Not sure how I'll make it go along with Death Guard necessarily, because I'm probably gonna be Death Guard, but Black Legion was my second choice. So yeah, I thought this Eradicator would be done tonight. I don't know if that's actually going to be a thing. Not even necessarily on stream, but even like post-stream. So I'm probably going to keep painting them tonight. Just, yeah. I don't think I'll be able to pull it off. We'll see. I'm not experimenting as much with this Melta gun like I was, last time, so or with the eyes on the head, so both of those will be a lot faster than last time, so that's something. Also, I don't have to stop to airbrush stuff with no oil. That's also different from last time. Adding muzzle burn tonight? Yes, I will definitely get to the muzzle burn. I just touched a bunch of wet paint like a absolute rookie. Yep, gonna do muzzle burn. Already figured out how I did it exactly with the other one, so I'm just replicating again. It's actually quite simple. It's just doing shades one after another in a very specific way. First, what's gonna happen is in a second when I actually get all the bronze on this I want, like actually completely opaque bronze. Just this bronze is a little hard to get super opaque over black. I'm then going to null oil all of the metallic parts, right? While that's drying, I'm probably going to start on the scroll. And when null oil is dry, I'm going to add highlighting on the bronze, starting with the barrel, and then begin shading the barrel. And while it's drying, I'll be doing the rest of the highlighting. Retribute armor over Chaos Black, 50 coats layer, and you might get there. Wow. Well, I'll stick with my weapon bronze then. But yeah, this will be the outcome of the muzzle burn, which I'm actually quite proud of. I like this. I think this is pretty good. Let's get the null oil out. Yeah, I'm probably gonna make a quick tutorial on that, which, unlike a lot of my other tutorials, will be like 40 seconds in comparison. Like the minute 40 to 2 minutes they usually are. On how to do that. Because that was actually extremely easy to get that effect. Very simple. It's all shaders. You just have to have the great shaders. I'd imagine I'd probably have the time to make the tutorial Saturday, because I already have a bunch of stuff lined up for tomorrow. Which started with nothing, and then over the course of today, just one thing after another was like, hey, you're gonna do stuff tomorrow. Alright, I guess. One thing is with this initial shading, but it's the same technique through all of it. When in regards to the barrel, always drag it towards the front. So then Majority of it is at the front. It dries darker. Drag it to the tip. Yeah, that's gonna be one of the lines in the tutorial. Is drag all shaders like towards the front of the barrel. I kept calling it the top of the barrel. The other stream, I want to say Monday afternoon when I was painting the other one. Not sure why. How goes it, Justin? Welcome back. Yes, I'm dragging it to the tip and my wet palette is moist. We're about to dip the entire weapon into the ball and pull it out, but first it all runs to the barrel. That is way too much in the collection of everywhere else it could possibly collect. It's a problem I have with that. I usually find dipping to be not very precise. The other thing is that I already have pre-matted the black on the Melta. So that gets the same matte as the rest of it, which is basically Nuln Oil put through an airbrush. So that would mess that up. I mean, listen, I will entertain any suggestion. It's just I will also most likely pull apart why it's dumb. That goes beyond just painting. Yes, say the ideas, but then I will tell you why they're stupid and you should feel stupid. But I mean, some people do legitimately do dipping. I know it's a big joke, but like, yeah, I've heard of people actually doing it. It's a thing. Like, all right, well, you know, so be it. I did slightly mess up said matte on the weapon already, as you can kind of see. We'll see how that plays out. Rest of it. I think if I stopped and sprayed it now, I'd probably be fine, because I don't think it would mess up the look of the rest of the stuff around it too much, really. I might do that. Yeah, where's my airbrush? I'm not even gonna bother muting myself, because it's gonna be so quick. It's gonna take me like 20 seconds. Normally I mute it. Oh yeah, there's still like a cleaner in there. Oh yeah, I gotta clean my airbrush. It's getting pretty gnarly. Fortunately, it's all black, so... Just a whole bunch of black primer dried to the inside. Alright. It's only gonna be a second. Yeah, I'm doing it off cam on purpose because it's better angle. Part of the trick is drying it with the airbrush, the quick dry. Kind of messes with it a little bit. And I could be imagining that, but that's what it looks like to me. Don't worry, we're almost done. Almost done with this horrendous noise. Yeah, now it's all, actually I misstated it. It's on the back of the gun, but it's still gonna be kind of visible. There we go. Alright. Pour the excess back, and I'll deal with cleaning the thing later. I'm just gonna pour some cleaner into it. Call it a day. The whole thing's gotta get cleaned out at this point, so it's about that time. At least before my next round of priming anything. But I don't think that's gonna be for a couple weeks anyway, so I'm not in a huge rush on it. Alright. Turn that off. Alright. Yeah, it's all uniform again on the black. Didn't really mess up the metal bits too much. I mean, they lost a little bit of sheen, but they're smaller parts anyway, and they're gonna get some back when I highlight them. So, next step is highlighting the bronze, which I'm going to do with, I believe it's, what did I do it with before? I think because it got darkened so much, I just used more weapon bronze on it. Although there are some parts on the magazine bit that need a bit more. Right here is still very bright and shiny. We want you to be bright and shiny. We want you to be... We want you to conform. We want you to be appropriately darkened. Just like the rest. Oop, I just smashed a bunch of Nolo onto something. I think into the pipe, which is... Alright. Cool deal. Yep, I'm gonna highlight with weapon bronze. Which is what I believe I did before. And, that should give just a little bit of highlight without making it too obvious and notable. Then we'll get to that muzzle burn. Don't worry. Thought I'd do is starting to scroll between it, but that did not happen. And all the weapon bronze is, as a highlight, is effect, like, it actually is putting paint on it, but it looks like you're taking the shader off. It's pretty funky. It's kind of the idea, I think. Oh, again, I'm getting too high here. You're still here, Justin. Are you painting tonight? What are you doing? Are you doing some more printing? Oh, gotta wait for that. No. Alright. Oh, you know, I'll hit the pipe. I will hit the pipe. You heard me. Which might have banned me for saying hit the pipe. I don't know. Are you gonna tell him? I'm not gonna tell him. Hey, it's mostly legal where I am. Reported. Weren't they banning people for saying simp and stuff? Oh, probably. Probably. Yo, all the identity politics running around wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I know they were banning a bunch of, right-wing, like, I mean, some of them were extremely right? Wow. Extremely right-wing. These are actually words I say all the time. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. But also some, like, moderate right-wing, political commentators. Some people were telling me. But not nearly as much on the left, which I think shows their hand a little bit, but it's only to be expected. These large tech companies, kind of just how it goes. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they ban people for saying simp, because that is a right-wing word. Or kind of leans that way. I mean, I know left-wingers use it too, but I think it mostly originated from the right. Yeah, I still have, like, bits of glue in this brush. It's a whole rabbit hole on all that stuff, which I actually love plumbing rabbit holes. I just still haven't decided if I want to turn my channel into that yet or not. I definitely could, it's just I don't... The potential repercussions on other stuff going on in my life is, it's the question. So I'm waiting to find out if it's a legitimate risk or not. And there is a certain point where I do find out if it is legitimately a risk or not. I haven't hit that point yet. Turns out it's not a risk. This might turn into a political painting channel. That's the type of stuff I talk about most of the time. Out, you know, in my day-to-day life, I talk about that stuff constantly. With all kinds of people from all kinds of directions. Ironically, I think some people might really like my take on this stuff because I'm right in the middle of a lot of it. As far as, like, ideals. Pretty centrist. So, you know, I can perfectly take off left and right. Great. It's the best way of going about it. Equally make them all mad. Alright, let's start this muzzle burn, because it is time. The bronze is highlighted. Ready to go. So, here's how we're doing it. We're starting with Reikland Flesh Shade. That is step one. What we're going to do is we're going to drag the shader towards the front from 3/4 of the way down. These measurements are important. So about halfway, the halfway mark of the rearmost slot is our aim. And we're gonna make 2 full passes around the barrel with this. Also, you still with me, Tone? Don't put me on a dangerous topic like that and run off. That ain't nice. It's hilarious, but ain't nice. Good. It's like someone just jumps into the chat and just goes quickly, 9/11 was an inside job, and then it runs, and I'm like, ah! Well, that's gonna fill the next hour. Let's go! I felt the opening to the rabbit hole opening up, yeah. Yep. And here's the part you didn't expect. My head pops up from the hole, does not look down it. I am already well and truly deep in that hole. I just don't. Well, no, in real life, I actually have very low. Um, what's the word? Compitu. Not capitulation. Not stipulation either. Compunction. I think it's compunction. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I have few. I just lost the word again. Anyway, I have little hesitation being opinionated and, dare I say, controversial. Because I only care about the truth. I gotta figure out what the truth is one way or another. So I gotta, and it's that dome thing. How do I get rid of the underwater dome response track? Is there a way of me just removing this from the selection? There isn't, but I wish there was. Like, I can add stuff to a playlist. That takes forever, and I gotta actually, like, listen to stuff to do that. But I can't go into the featured playlist and remove stuff from it, which would be way more effective, because most of the tracks are fine. This one's kind of weird. Well, this one's fine. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Anyway. Real life, I have very little hesitation about being very opinionated, because I'm always after the truth, and I don't care if it's a uncomfortable or painful truth for some people. Just on spaces like Twitch and stuff that can somehow branch over into work-related stuff, I have to be slightly more careful. I'm gonna do another pass as soon as that top dries. I'm gonna do another pass with the recommend flesh shade. So in the meantime, I'm gonna start working on that little bit of scroll work there, which is going to be Bezos is watching. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, well here's what's going on. I recently learned that I actually have an inside contact with one of the FANG companies, which stands for the top tier tech companies, that might be able to get me a job there doing tech stuff, because my other main occupation is web designer. And I have some experience doing UI and UX design. Done it for a couple different companies and a couple different projects in the past, like large scale. I was actually the main one. I was actually their UI UX design lead on 2 websites and a mobile app for like a year and a half. So I have some relevant experience here. That, you know, I've been pretty much self-employed and freelance for years, but I learned that I might have a chance of legitimately getting a job, a real nice job, one of these high-end tech companies. And this was about the time I was thinking about turning my Twitch thing, you know, political, because I can talk about that all day. Just even to myself, I can just deep dive into those topics just to keep myself sharp. Way easier than talking about painting when there's no one actually in the chat. So then I have to figure, well, okay, most of these tech companies are fairly concerned about their image, and they're usually left-leaning considerably. So is there a chance I get hired, and then in 3 months, one of them comes across the fact that I do streams and that I started talking about... Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. It was gonna become like the titles were really good. Like I was gonna probably go into like either just chatting or art, and then literally say this is political painting. Come here to like talk about like deep stuff while I paint, and we watch me paint while we talk about really deep topics. Here's the problem. If I could get this job, that would completely change my life for the better in so many ways. It would be absolutely game changing on every level. And then let's say 6 months down the road, I might even still be streaming on the side, because like actually the job I'm looking at does not have a lot of hours involved, even though you still get very high pay. Are they going to find my stream and then be like, yeah, we can't keep you because of the stuff you're saying? That's my concern. So until I know that for sure, either I definitely don't get the job, or turns out they really don't give a crap as long as I don't say who I actually work for, which I've not so far. Then absolutely, then I'm going right in, because I literally don't care if, like, for example, you know, like this, some of the following I have, if they don't care for the political talk, if they just go away, I don't care. I'm not big enough that it will, like, crush me. I'll just start over and get people that want to talk about that stuff. Well, it's more the... Well, okay, for example, right now on my resume, because I'm a commissioned painter and it shows I know art, it's something I should have on there to show that I that I can do design work, because design work for like UI and UX is primarily just visual stuff. It's art, basically. You're just making pragmatic art. So it says on there, self-employed, basically tabletop painting studio, commissioned painter, and that I do commissioned paintings, painting live streams, and painting instruction. So it says right on my resume that I do live streams and the name of the company. So literally, they just have to put in basically tabletop, and they will find my Instagram, my Facebook page, which currently still broken, my Twitch, my YouTube channel. Yeah, it actually, like, they would just have to want to research me the smallest bit. Because the immediate result, besides finding my personal Facebook based off my name, would be that. Would be, would be this. They find this instantly. Basically. So, right, that's kind of where I sit on that. Now, would they find... Well, yeah, because I'd be changing all the titles and the branding and everything to show that's political painting. So, like, yeah, and I'd immediately see that I do a political painting podcast. They don't even have to care what I'm talking about exactly. It's just, oh, you dive into controversial topics on the internet with people watching you, but at the same time you work for us. So, yeah. Now, I could come back with that, with being like, okay, give me an NDA. Give me, like, I've worked in NDAs before. I've probably signed nearly a dozen NDAs at this point. I've even nearly had to issue NDAs. Like, I've written them up. I didn't end up not having to use them, but I've even written up NDAs. Give me an NDA. Saying that, like, on all this stuff, like, there's no, I will not divulge who I work for, or even that I work for somebody. Like, nothing about my real life occupation. Now, you could say, like, this entire conversation is a little bit of that, but I mean, not really. It's just saying I might get it. No one has to know I did get it. You know what I mean? Now, there's also the point that that doesn't mean that will kill that idea completely, because my long-term goal is to not even stay at this company if I get it, even though it'll be an absolutely amazing job. But it's actually a stepping stone for me. For the next, like, basically, if I get it for the next 1 to 3 years, I do that and save up a bunch of the money, and again, to real estate, getting like long-term rentals, just buying up tons of property while living still pretty modestly off the pay. Which I already know how to do all the real estate stuff. I've already been trying to do it just through entirely creative finance, which is really hard, but you can theoretically do it if you can find any people that want to play ball on it. But it looks risky on their end because it's unconventional. The math still works. I have all the math. I have so much math. Getting into that, and then when I have enough, when I have the cash flow from the real estate, I can quit the Fang company, and then I can do this as a political podcast. I can say anything I want because my income is entirely based upon my own assets that I own. Technically, my various LLCs and S Corp and whatever own them, but you get the idea. I'm back to fully self-employed in whatever means I desire, as I'd be not even a self-employed. I'd be an investor type technically, because it's real estate investment. So then I could pick this back up as a political thing, no sweat, and just dive in and talk about whatever I want, whatever the new ideological challenges of 2025, let's say. So in the meantime, I probably shouldn't go too much or be too obvious about all that until I know how this is going to play out. Now, this is probably part of the backup plan if I don't get that job or a similar job at one of their competitors, which would be a lot harder without the internal reference. But anyway, is then go so hard into political painting that it like hoping it kind of takes off because people eat that stuff up. The people that like that stuff like it really, really hard. So it could totally blow up like really quickly if I really got into that and started just speaking my actual mind all the time. Gotta do that flesh shade. I gotta do occupy on the scroll work, which I didn't even do the back one, but I'm not gonna do the back one. The back one can stay black. You'll technically be able to see it, but I mean, no. Oh, I'm going all. Else, yeah, I'd start diving into, gender issues, situations with dating, culture, government corruption, economic, all kinds of crap. Just tons of it. All the spiciest topics. I'd actually have to probably, review Twitch's terms of service so I know what stuff will definitely get me banned if I talk about it. Although there's definitely plenty of stuff that they don't say that they'll still ban you for. Like the simp thing. I somehow doubt it says simp in their terms of service. I think I popped off here and then just jumped to YouTube and streamed there, which I was streaming there originally last year, and then stuff came up and I had to stop streaming. But, yeah. And then, keep going like that, getting knocked off platform after platform until I'm on the Daily Wire. Yeah. I think that last patch of Reckling Flesh Shade, like, dried, like, immediately. Oh, there's such a dark spot there, but you know what, that might not matter. Alright, well, I'll just move on to the next step, which is Agrak Search Shade, and this is going to be the top half of the barrel. Oh, yeah. But my Agrax is much lower after last night, because I had a spill. Yeah, I spilled Agrax Earthshade, like, over, like, most of my desk. It was not great. It's also lowered the quality of the remaining Agrax quite a bit. A lot more bits. That's drawing. I'm gonna do a little bit of scripting on scroll. So while I have, actually no, I'll do the aggregates first and the scroll. Then I'll do a little bit of scripting on it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna put on it, but do you have any ideas on what to put on it? Hey Tone, you're putting a word on a Raven Guard Eradicator Melta rifle. What do you think should go on it? I'm not saying I will put what you say on it, but I will consider your input. What is this? Airlock? Why is this a track and why is it named Airlock? Jeez. Oh, I think I lost Tone. And he's gone. How's this looking? Rex isn't dry yet. Oh, I'll start on the metal highlights then. Or should I do the Dawnstone first because of the bolts? I should probably do the Dawnstone first. Yeah, I'll do that. I still got any workable Dawnstone here? No, not really. Cool deal. Oh man. Halfway through the stream and I'm so exhausted. Great. You think it was telling him I wanted his advice, but I wouldn't definitely take it? Then probably not. Who knows why people jump out of streams? I don't know. I do sometimes wish creators had the ability to see who was in their stream. I can understand why they can't, but it would help me. Especially that one time someone put a commission request in on the website and on my website and put in the wrong email. So I couldn't get back to him. I had no way of communicating with him. He said he was in the stream and wanted to get a quote on a job and put the wrong email, so I can't get back to him on it. I'd love to do the commission, but would have really helped me too. Speaking of my website, you want to help you want to support the stream without without doing a whole commission, head to the shop, buy a shirt or a coffee mug. So I have coffee mugs. And it's all stuff that actually says like funny or you know, relevant stuff. It's not just, you know, a shirt with my logo on it. I think that's kind of weird. Unless you have a really cool logo. I don't think my logo is cool enough to be just like on a shirt by itself. do have some new ideas for new designs, but I haven't had the time to make anything new yet. I have a number of designs in mind, actually. Oh yeah, no problem, Tone. Just I didn't know what happened. After this brushful is done, I'm gonna move on to the next step of the muzzle burn, which is Null Oil. Whole bunch of coats of Null Oil. Pop this fully on auto. Alright, looks like that time is now. Alright. Non-oil. Non-oil. Actually, it looks a bit darker than it is on the cam. I'm not sure why it looks so dark on the cam. But it does look pretty dark on the cam. Oh, I'm doing the entire thing. I don't want to do the entire thing. I want to do the last, like, quarter of it. Oops. Just darken the whole thing for no reason. Like a fair bit, too. Fortunately, the dragging method worked fairly well in my favor in that regard. That looks pretty good. Shovel boy! Thank you for the oh, thank you for the raid. Look at you. Coming in with a friend. Thank you kindly. Look at the raid. Sup, Shovel boy? Welcome to the party, even though I see you brought party with you. How it goes? Thank you kindly. I had a whole I had my whole initial reaction and remembered that you might not have even been able to hear me until like 20 seconds later. But yeah, thanks for joining. It was pretty good. Nice. I'm just over here working on a Raven Guard Radicator Melta rifle, which is coming along. I think it's time to finish up the black highlights while that non-oil dries. So how did your stream go? And what were you streaming? We're gonna Chaos Knight Laser Destructor. That sounds very cool. Any specific legion or house or black shield? What's the alignment there besides crazy and destructive? Now, you doing any special effects on the laser part? Oop, I'm messing up the... Now I have to be very careful here. An actual view here again. I don't know what house and corn colors and no effects. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, you can just literally just go corn. Very corny. And yeah, fair enough. Sometimes big gun is all the effect you need. Sheer size is the effect. Do plan on running in with some World Eaters. Very nice. Getting ready for the new codex. I think they've all but... No, I think they did announce that there's officially a World Eaters Codex coming. Don't remember if we know when, but yeah. Which I know I have a local World Eaters player. He's excited. He's very excited. Might be too excited. Didn't announce it, but it's after Guard, Demons, and Votan. I mean, that just sounds like gives you time to paint up some very good-looking World Eaters and a good-looking Knight. I almost said Titan, although I suppose to be fair, that's technically still correct. Knights are considered Titans. Very, very small Titans. That looks pretty good. Pretty good hand. The other. Here's what I'm wondering. Well, are demons gonna get out of D tier? That's a question. And are Votan gonna really shake up the meta? Guard Codex Nest? Well, again, model refresh. That, I mean, I'm pretty sure their Codex is next. I want to say it sounds correct. Model refresh? I mean, they've started getting some models refreshed, didn't they? Didn't they just get some, didn't they just bring back the Kasserkin? Which is awesome, I think. I think the Kasserkin are really, really cool, lore-wise. Especially love their sequence in, Eisenhorn, Malleus. They had a Kazakin sequence. It was really cool. But yeah, I thought they just got new Kazakin models that also are, like Scion proxies. This Kazakin are basically Cadian Scions. Like, they're on the same level. Hyper elite infantry. I see messages. I will read them in just a moment. Alright. I think Demons is next because they're releasing some teaser slates, released new Possessed already. I thought the new Possessed were... Did not release new Possessed alongside Chaos Space Marines? I thought the Possessed were, Chaos Space Marine units. Because they're literally Demon-Possessed Chaos Space Marines. Nope, not yet. Ah, GW being like that, huh? It's like how they took an extra, what was it? 3 years to, or not, nearly 4 years to release the Space Marine Gravis Captain independently. At least he got a decent model out of it, but geez, why was the wait so long? I can't get good. So, the release new Space Marines, Dark Commune, Cultists, Warpsman, and maybe Venom Crawler in a bundle with Hellbrutes. Buy new Space Marines, the ones with the upgrade sprue. Oh. Well, at least you got the upgrade sprue with the bundle, because, I mean, every time I do that with, Loyalist Space Marines, it's a single pose thing, and you have to get the upgrade sprue separately. I don't think we've gotten the upgrade sprue with any of the big bundle boxes. I mean, maybe in Star Collecting, you get the Loyalist Space Marines, but not like not Dark Imperium or Indomitus or Shadow Spear. Those are all mono pose. Yeah, it's like a kill team box, 10 Marines with new bits. Okay, well that's not so bad. Can you get those separately? Or is there a point that you can only get them through this, like, bundle? Which I think is weird, because, like, in the Horus Heresy stuff, I think, like, almost immediately you could get all the stuff in the Age of Darkness box, independently. I'm pretty sure right now you can order all of it. 2 Praetors, the TAC Marines, the heavy weapons, bits alongside them, the Spartan, the plastic Spartan, the plastic Relic Contemptor, plastic Terminators, and I think, a new set of the Tartaros Terminators as well. Be nice. I have some Tartaros Terminators from like the original box that still has like the Burning of Prospero transfers in them. Now it has an upgrade sprue on its own. Oh, well, that sucks. Well, I don't mean the upgrade sprue. I mean just like the kit with the upgrade sprue on its own. I don't know if this edge is appropriate to paint, but... Oh yeah, you can get the 1 box 10 Marines and upgrade sprints. Yeah, okay, well that's what I mean. Like, you know how long we've had to wait for some of this stuff for Loyalists? Like these Eradicators. I own 9 Eradicators. They're off in the Indomitus box. I don't have any multi-Meltas or heavy Meltas, even though that's what I primarily run. I think even in this list, I have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure even in the list I'm painting up, they're actually supposed to be heavy Melta rifles. But yeah, it took months and months for us to get a hold of that. I think I just have to do... I like where the muzzle burn is now. Probably gonna keep it like that. So I gotta do the scripting on there, which will probably be last, and I gotta do the highlighting and all the steel. Only a few weeks ago, if you wanted to sprue, you had to buy one of those big boxes, Chaos Maneuvers out along with the terrain for like $300. Okay. That's just kind of par for the course. Like they're gonna keep it exclusive for a little while. It's just... Why was the Gravis Captain exclusive in either the Dark Imperium starter sets or the Dark Imperium main box set for like 4 years? Or the those Lieutenant Sculpts or the Primaris Ancient? Because that was still the only way to get the Primaris Ancient until the Heroes thing came out, what was that, like 8 months to a year ago? They did rebound a good miss. That part looks smooth. It, so it's Rakarth Flesh, and then Pallid Witch Flesh. Full coats till opaque. Or looks opaque anyway. And then just Agrax over it, and just one, you know, decently wet swipe. And maybe a little bit of pooling to try to get it to come smooth. That's actually like half of how I do bone. Rakarth Flesh, Powdered Witch Flesh, Skeleton Horde, and then Dry Brush, Tyrant Skull, and then City White. You can get pretty smooth bone out of that. I got any bone nearby? Oh, actually. Yeah, the spine of the weapon is basically what my bone ends up looking like when I do bone. Or is his headpiece here is his bone. Really proud how these guys actually came out. These are pretty awesome, if you ask me. The creator. So I know I'm biased, but you know. If you do Rakarth's base coat, if you do Rakarth, I know what the question is, but if you do Rakarth as a base coat and go over with Pallid, what does the initial base coat of Rakarth serve as if you're changing the color? Or does some of the undercolor come through? It's that and in the other direction. So all sorry, I have a big brain fart. Okay. All acrylic paints are transparent to some degree. You can apply a bunch of coats and eventually get truly opaque, but unless you want to go through that much of a headache, all kind of transparent. So I always undercoat Pallid Witch Flesh because it's a lighter color, and lighter colors, generally speaking, have a lot more transparency to them inherently because of the chemistry involved than darker colors. That's why you'll usually see with Citadel colors, the lighter colors are layers and the darker colors are bases. Good luck finding a light color that's a base, or called a base. You won't really find it. They're all a darker version of some kind of base color, like white, for example. The closest one is Correct's white, which is a gray. So the lighter a color gets, the more transparent it gets. So what the Rock-Hard Flesh is doing is, well, it's adding its own color to add a bit more depth to the Pallid Witch Flesh. It is also blocking the black from coming through to the Pallid Witch Flesh level, being underneath it. Even if I do 2 or 3 coats of Pallid Witch Flesh, it will still come out as a more smoother, natural-looking color. You know, like this. Than if I went straight to black. I used to do it like that, and it was always really hard. It would take a whole crap load of coats. Instead, I do 2 or 3 coats of Rackguard Flesh, and then, like, usually 2 to 3 coats of Pallid Witch Flesh until it looks, you know, like Pallid Witch Flesh. As opposed to, like, 7, 8, 9 coats of Pallid Witch Flesh. And then sometimes the black would still, like, somewhat come through. Like, it would be darker, but darker in, like, a desaturated way. If you're gonna have something go darker or lighter, you're better off with more saturation, which you can only do with more colors. You can't do directly with black or white. That's why when you see people mixing paint, they never mix stuff unless they want to desaturate, like a pastel. Unless they're going for a pastel, you never see people mixing. People that know what they're doing anyway, mixing with straight black or straight white. They'll get a color along that gradient towards lighter or darker and mix that instead, because it keeps the saturation up. Say for example, the blues right here. If I wanted a lighter Cantor blue, I wouldn't mix it with white, because that would get me something very desaturated. I would instead mix it with Blue Horror, because it has blue in it, but it's lighter. Or even Baharath blue, which would actually shift me slightly into the green just a tiny bit. Well, but will get me lighter without losing saturation, which is the actual color. It's the vividness of the color itself. So it basically just comes down to basic paint theory. Okay, cool. I was always curious. Yeah, stop mixing with white. You'll be amazed if you just mix with a lighter color than what you start with. Unless you're starting with super light already, like say with Blue Horror, I'm not going to find much paint that can get more light than that. Then yeah, I'll mix it with white. But like, besides that, yeah, white base with one color and use totally different on top. Yeah. So like, here's a great example, because this sword here is painted with these blues. These blues right here. Cantor blue. Actually, was it Lothran blue? I think this actually, wait, no, this was the one case that I didn't do that. Hold on. And take that back. It's with the Vanguard vets, which I don't have grabbable right now, I don't think. Are they over here? I think they're in a bag. Son of a... Okay, actually... Well, yeah. You go to... you follow the link tree to my Instagram. You'll find Vanguard vets there. Those are using a bunch of different blues and white at the end and white highlights. This is actually an example of when doing white actually does work. This effect I can do with a single brush and 2 paints, Cantor blue and white. But I do it that way specifically because it's supposed to be a gradient directly from blue to white. So it works for this. But you can see all these little layers of paint in between now, they're fairly desaturated though. Like, that's a soft blue. That's not a vivid center blue. And that's because it's mixed with white. So if you want a vivid center blue, like Lothern blue, and this isn't even mixed, and it's not even, that's not the shaken up bit, right? That is more vivid than the centerpiece blue still, even if it's only a little bit. If I can get this mixed up proper. Right, so right there is the mixed bit, and that's still more saturated. Another great way of adding saturation back into stuff, if you want to mix with, say, white, for example, you want to get saturation back, use inks. Vallejo Game Ink, I grabbed their whole box like years ago. These things are amazing. Tiny bit of these. Huge amount of saturation. It's super bright red on my palette right here. That's red ink. That does a whole all kinds of stuff. Actually, the super vivid flat reds on here, like on the tilt shield and the free-handed company marker there, that's Wild Rider red, this orange, with red ink top coated. Yeah, inks are absolutely incredible. I love inks. I use them constantly. I use inks so much for top coats, for mixing. I use them even through my airbrush. Inks are so good. Inks are great. Because you can do so much with them, because it's just like it's saturation in a medium, which is amazing. That's effectively what it is. It's like a wash, but like way more intense and not leaning towards dark. I mean, unless you use a dark one, like I literally have one here that I like never use this, but I have it because it's part of the box. Black green. This is just super dark green. This is basically like Biotan green on steroids. Biotan green is kind of a green wash, but leans dark. This is that like on steroids. I'm not sure what exactly I'd use that for. Maybe for like plants, painting plants, I suppose. Like actual plants, not like laurels on armor, because you want those kind of bright, but like plants you want to look natural, stuff like that. But all the other ones, like the yellow or the red, it's like a wash, but more akin to a glaze. The fact that it just color shifts, but way more vibrantly, even than like a proper glaze. Like you can't even get this anymore. This is Gilliman blue glaze. This blue is still more vibrant than this. You'd use in a lot of the same way. Actually, I think... Yeah, I'm pretty sure the plasma pistol here, the blue on there, that is white with blue ink. That's all that is. Base coat white, all the energy spots, and then splashed some blue ink on it. That's your result. Which, yeah, I know it's supposed to be in reverse, and I literally just did a tutorial on it, but I wanted something to be quick and really pump, you know. Yeah, grab some inks. Grab Vallejo Game Ink. You can get just a whole box of them. Let's see, you'll get blue, red, yellow, violet, green, dark green, black, and this cool skin wash that actually I use for skin fairly often. It's like Reikland Flesh Shade, but even better. Alright, what am I doing on this piece again? I'm gonna do scripting, yeah. I haven't thought of anything. So... Silver. which is a whole bunch right there because I always put too much of it on the pallet because I usually need very little of it. Where are we at on time? Half hour left? Okay. Simultaneously excited to talk about advanced painting techniques, but also just getting tired. Oh, I think it's... Oh, that looks pretty cool. Oh. 9:30. I've been going since 9 a.m. Only really meal breaks, which I've had 2. My next meal's at 11-ish. And yeah, just basically been, you know, I ate around like 9:30, worked out, jogged my mile, which is all hills, so really you fly now, it's closer to 2 miles. 11:30 a.m. here, finished my random crawl in space finally. Nice. Oh, you're on, you, Australia? I'm gonna guess Australia. Jogged my mile, which really is closer to 2 miles because it's all hills. Showered, obviously, which is cold shower. I only do cold showers. Health benefits. Actually, it really jump-started my weight loss when I started taking cold showers. Started taking cold showers in like April, so I'm at 4 months of almost exclusively cold showers. I've taken the odd hot shower when I've not been feeling well, and honestly, it feels weird now. Like, cold showers literally feel better than hot showers now. Yeah, Aussie. Okay, that's cool. Then what'd I do after that? After that, I had a business meeting about some web work and then prepped a bunch of stuff for the first stream, which was like an hour and a half of painting to re-prep a bunch of stuff from my Agrax Earthshade spill last night. Did my afternoon stream for 2 hours and did 3 hours of web work and then ate lunch effectively, even though it's my family's dinner. And got on the stream here. I still have a few things I want to do after this. Eat and then probably paint this guy more before bed at, you know, like 1:32 in the morning. Ironically, I was actually saved by my therapist ghosting on me because I was supposed to have an hour-long call with him from 11 to noon. Turns out that gave me just enough time, and I mean just enough time. I was 5 minutes late to start my stream. Do all the other stuff I had to do. So I guess I was technically overbooked today. My therapist never called. It's fine. Even though the last few days have actually been pretty rough for me, for the most part, I am probably what most people would consider too emotionally stable to even need a therapist. I mean, mine's paid through insurance anyway, and I do think having a therapist is the equivalent of emotional fitness. But yeah, it didn't like hurt me. It actually probably helped me that he ghosted. But yeah, that happened. That was a thing. My camera being weird again. All staticky on me. It's just jumping. I will eventually get better keeping everything in frame, but, you know. Until then, I suck, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. It's terrible at keeping this thing I'm painting in frame, especially when I flip it all around so I can paint stuff properly. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on purity seals, so you can see how I did that scroll work so smoothly, as you said. That's fine, Seb is good. Good, I'm glad. Is the music volume good? I'm always self-conscious about the music, even though I keep forgetting to go back and listen to some of my streams. I think part of it is that I actually play the music fairly loud in my headset. So it's like competing with me talking, and I do that kind of on purpose, so I'm not hearing myself as much. So I'm not thinking about how I sound. But I have it set like pretty low in the stream, so I don't even know if people can hear it, and I'm constantly talking about how, oh, that track sucks. Yeah, do one of them, never been able to nail them down. Music is good, want it barely audible as a viewer. Okay, well, that's good. And if everything looks good, works good, great. I mean, my links are not links. My commands are still broken, but you know, not much I can do about that. They keep telling me to just remake all my commands after their big patch last, you know, a couple weeks ago. I have. It hasn't worked. Maybe I'll try it again tomorrow. I'll just remake all of them and see if that changes. I don't know. So yeah, I'll add to my list. I have like, I think 3 tutorial ideas now. The Melta barrel burn, purity seals, and my lightning claws. A lot of people have complimented those lightning claws, so I figure, hey, why don't I tell you people how I do the lightning claws? Because they're actually fairly complex. A lot of patience to get lightning claws that smooth. Also, maybe tutorial for the jump pack too. Actually, jump packs are pretty unique. I've never seen anyone else use the Dark Fear jump packs like that. And I know a couple people have said that the exhausts look really good, so add that to the list. I mean, fair. I mean, you know, if you like how it comes out, then faster is totally legit. I mean, yeah, my stuff comes out looking pretty friggin' good, I think. But it takes a while. It takes a while for me to do anything. The thing I do the fastest is probably bone. But even that's like 6 steps. It's just all the steps are very fast to accomplish. And none of them take any real amount of precision. Actually, no precision at all. It's completely precisionless to do my bone. The only downside is you do need an airbrush. You need very specific paints. I mean, I guess you could mix it up a bit, but you know, if you want looking exactly like mine, you're gonna need very specific paints. Almost done with the steel. We're almost done with the whole gun, actually. Getting very close. It's the sight, which is completely meaningless now that it has a rack handle, but makes sense that it's still there because it's built into the gun while the rack handle is an attachment. Alright, time for bolts and scripting, and then this is done. And we should be able to touch both the arms, because I think the other one is mad down fairly good. Yeah. A little bit of like lint stuff on it, so I don't know. Actually, it's got some patchiness on the Nope, that's not lint. That's something that's like discoloring it. Alright, I might have to do a little bit of cleanup on the left shoulder, but in any regard, that'll be fairly quick. Knock these out. So, I suppose if nothing else, today was a pretty good day for followers. I got, what, 4 followers today? I haven't got any new followers in like a week. I guess everyone's just waiting for today, I suppose. I don't know. That or, oh, it is Warhammer Wednesday, so I suppose there's that. Yeah, a little bit closer to 50. Can definitely tell Twitch is no longer pushing my channel for being a newbie. I mean, I went to like 20 followers in the first like 4 streams, which was 2 days. And then like completely dropped off in growth after that. Yeah, right? Well, 5-0 is the important bit, because if I can hit, when I hit that, then I just need to hit some time, some averages to get, what's it called? Associate? Something like that. It's when you get bits, when you unlock the bits feature. Should be nice, because then I might start actually making some money off this. That, or if someone sends me a commission request and they get their email correct. Affiliate, yeah. You get affiliate. Cause yeah, someone actually did go to my website, put in a form for a commission, like asking for a quote, and they put the wrong email. So I had no way of contacting them to give them my quote. I even did up the quote and then found out that their that the email they gave me didn't work. It just gave me Mailer Demon. I tried from 2 different email servers. It's very frustrating. I was totally ready to do that commission. What am I putting on the script here? Can probably fit only like 5 letters on there max, and even that might be stretching it. Probably more like 4 letters. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that sex habit. Yeah, it still annoys me, because it's still saying there in my my form responses in the website backend. It's still saying there like as the top one, because you know, the most recent. But I'm not gonna get rid of it just for reference in case, you know, something comes up later. I do that for all of them. I keep like the legitimate commission requests. I get tons of spam. I get like 15 articles of spam a day, but keep all the commission requests for reference points. Not caring about this music. Man, I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna attach all the crap. Because that's in the front. I can always put something on it later. I keep thinking of like big words that would be cool to go on there, and like I can't fit that. That's too big. I also need to fix these couple dots on here. Gonna be a tiniest bit of black, and then I might do the entire pauldron in laminate medium because its consistency is. That didn't melt all the way. Oh. Alright. I'm gonna attach them and then, like, in the interim, mess with the backpack while stuff dries on the shoulder. There's gonna be a number of steps. Alright. Pop out in the zoom. Pop out to modeling cam. A transfer and upgrade. So this is a transfer. This just a standard eradicator arm. These are actually the monopose ones from Indomitus. I think I mentioned that earlier. I have 9 of them from the way trades worked out when Indomitus first came out. But they're all monopose, so I only have Melta rifles. We know I usually run them with like heavy or heavy and a multi-Melta. I've never run 6. Not sure why you'd want to run 6. Now all the glue from the nail is gumming up the hole for the egg. Alright. Dry fit going. Is that working? Oh, it's... Oh, I see. One. I gotta do a whole bunch of stuff to this hole to make it work. This is the correct arm, though. I confirmed that. I wasn't sure earlier. Yeah. Today's first stream, I realized I had glued all the arms individually to the nails, and then realized I didn't know which one went to which guy. Oh, it's still not cleared out deep enough. Jeez. About to pull out my hand drill. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'll need glue to go on there, to stick on there, but it does now. Go. This is definitely going to need some cleanup before it can slot into place. Ecto knife. It's there so I can sit reasonably instead of stabbing myself because I'm too far away from what I'm doing. Punch it. Yep. Ow. Just punched my desk. Need all this glue residue out of here so I can just go and sit in the elbow joint. It's supposed to meet. stuff like glue and paint just kind of gets in the way, you know? Alright, let's see how that dry fits. I hope I didn't screw up the paint job on the front. Okay, something's not slotting in there quite right. I haven't got enough of it cleaned out. What is this music? I just started actually listening to. What is this? Get out of here. Yeah, I can tell it's 10 out of 10 because, man, I'm going cross-eyed. Part of it is, like, yeah, I'm used to painting, but thing is, to make all the cameras and stuff work, I'm actually painting at a lower light than I normally would. So usually at around, you know, quarter of 10, 10 of 10, like, I just start going friggin' cross-eyed. Basically, like, my eyes just start blurring out like crazy. I can't keep up with what I'm trying to look at. Part of why I pulled back my streaming schedule so much, because just like I physically couldn't do it. Not only could my energy level now hold up, but my eyes were just like having a stroke. Alright, I think that looks... Oop, you can't even see what I'm talking about. I think that looks like, more or less the shape it was originally. My hands are getting sweaty. It's not a good sign for the paint. Yeah, good enough. That'll work. Let's get some glue in there and put the other arm on. I should honestly put very low glue on this so I can ensure I can magnetize this layer, but I don't even know if that would be possible. Probably more likely I magnetize bits on the gun than the actual hand joints, all things considered. Oop. Unbasing him. Yeah, good enough. I gotta put more glue. The foot. On the foot. But, yeah, I'm gonna have to look back through the footage and find, is the base based? It is a based base. See, ain't that based. It's just, it's very, it's just, very, modest. Yeah, it's, oh, modest for me, anyway. Modest by my standards. Just so I can get this done for the tournament I keep mentioning. You know? Yeah, it's Astro Grant debris, then Null Oil, and then dry brush with Dawnstone. I think they poured a little bit of other paint in there. I use the same brush for dry basing everything. I don't clean it properly on purpose, so it remains like crusty, effectively. Is if it can focus. There we go. I find it does some interesting stuff. Not to mention it remains very stiff. Anyway. Yeah, just a little bit of basing on there. I'll probably add some more depth, some texture, and maybe a skull or two on one or two of them later after the tournament's done when I have more time for that stuff. But I'm trying to get just at least everything in the arm painted to at least like this standard, or for the finished one. This standard. Get everything to there. And then to go back and fill out details. Primarily, I want to really spruce up the crap out of the Storm Raven. That thing's getting some freehand. Multiple ideas in that regard. Put those tools away. I'm going to pop another full layer laminate medium all over that shoulder. And probably call it. We only a couple minutes of, and there's not really a whole lot I can do in like 3 minutes with the backpack. Man, I'm getting tired. Just like I'm tired of painting, tired of the streaming part. I like you guys, but it is a mental drain. I'm thinking about the music, thinking about my angles, thinking about visibility, making sure I'm actually doing the painting stuff right. Talking when I'm not even necessarily talking to anyone, which is probably the hardest, and it's much easier talking to people. It's people in the chat like you, Tone. You keep this running. I just being in the chat, actually responding to my nonsense. No offense to the lurkers, it just takes more energy to talk to myself, especially when I can't talk about politics like we talked about earlier. Alright, so that'll dry and be at least uniform with whatever it is. Oh good, I appreciate it. Yeah, keep yeah, with 2 minutes, may as well just go over all the social stuff. Yeah, you want those tutorials, follow my Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where the tutorials get posted. Instagram always gets like basically everything first, but YouTube does have a now it has a playlist with the stuff. So while it gets all the VODs from this, and it will get some of my other video projects here and there. When I get like just some crazy idea, it'll end up on there as well. But there is now a playlist of tutorials on there. There's also my Discord server for this, which still working on the community part, but you do get an everyone tag for every time I go live, and it also has a channel of where I upload the tutorials as well directly to the Discord, and any other non-VOD video projects, and you can find all that through the link tree. I popped up, what was that, 10-15 minutes ago in the chat. It's right there. So yeah, use the link tree, all the stuff's in there. And yeah, I will be back streaming Friday. I really would like this guy to be done by then, like it's over the course, it's tonight and tomorrow. Do the backpack and the head, get this guy done. Unfortunately, the left transfer for him and the sergeant will unfortunately have to wait until new transfers come in the mail, which I really hope they get here before the tournament, else that would suck. Pretty hard. Oh, there's a link tree again. There you go. So then it'll be the sergeant Friday, hopefully. They kind of got the legs, like, started, but, yeah, most of that's got to be done. Hopefully that'll all be done between Friday and the weekend. And then next week we paint a Sakaran Venator, which is partially painted from years and years ago. This is me painting like maybe a year in to the hobby ish. Man, I really got paint right over this. I think that looks terrible now. Should just be like the big Wade Raven or Raven Skull or some freehand piece. Freehand piece will probably go here if I guess that. These will also actually be last cans. Anyway, this will be next week, which I don't even know if this will take that long, to be honest. Most of it's just highlighting, and actually most of it's actually highlighting the steel bits, which will take a while, but after that, it's just highlighting black and steel for the most part. Not sure yet what I'm going to do for the gun effects, but something crazy. It'll be cool, whatever it is. It'll be really cool. Alright, awesome. I might actually, while the base coating, I might redo with an airbrush, honestly, because the black, I don't think I primed the black very well at the time, because it's like chipping off a bunch. Anyway, alright, it's now 10:01. Good talking to you, Tone. Thanks for hanging out. It's always great seeing you. Well, speaking to you. I don't really see you. I see your username. Yeah, I'll catch you all Friday. Nice.